people last night.
Yeah.
These guys were on the stage doing my dance move.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's so nice to see, man, that all these years later, and I say it every time I go to every event, I say, thank you for having me. You know, thank you for calling me here today. Because I'm very fortunate that I'm still in this and the midst of it, you know, and in and amongst all the young, new, hip artists that are the current vibe and the current trend. I'm still in and amongst it all. I'm still on those same flyers. You know, I could have been taken out a long time ago and replaced by someone else. But you know, without sounding cocky, it's hard to replace Juggy D. You know, I believe in myself, and that's something that I'm proud of. You know, because I worked hard, and that's not coming with ego. That's coming with just confidence of that I've worked hard, man, and I've worked hard to better myself all the time.
100. You mentioned something a little bit earlier about you had to tell your parents that I'm not getting paid right now, but it's coming, you know, and sometimes, especially our Asian parents can be the most, you know, army generals there. What are you doing? Well, what's your time? What you think this is gonna? You're putting yourself out there, you know, nazar, all of that. You know, people are gonna be, you know, looking down at you. You're a loafer. You're not doing nothing. You think you're gonna be this, you're that, until it happens. But you know, then they support you and stuff. But what do you say when you're giving advice to the next generation when you have people like your parents who created you are thinking with their own thoughts and their own beliefs? They're going through their system, not what they think you're actually capable of.
You've just got to, I guess, you know, I can only go from my experience. You've just got to reassure them that it's going to be okay, you know, and you've got confidence in yourself. Because what I used with my parents was that, look, Dad, all I'm doing is putting time into this. I'm not putting money into it.
Right.
It's not a business that I have to invest so much money and then, oh my God, I'm down this much money. How am I going to make it back? And what if it's not a success? We're going to be down, right? Still down. All I'm doing is investing my time and my effort. So I'm in a good business. I'm in a good position to start with because I've not had to financially invest in this. I've just have to put my time into it. So they were like, okay, Jal Tika, you know, I'd get by. I'd buy a bit more time off them. I'd buy a bit more time and just saying, don't worry, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. You know, all this, that money that you were not seeing just yet, there's going to come a time where it's going to cover that year or two threefold, you know, or whatever it is. So they were okay with it.
It's a bit strange, like the different cultures, you know, like, you know, you have different cultures, like English people will say, go on, go for it, we'll support you. And then we'll have like, we're just trying to fight for that. Can I have one more day, please? Like, you know, it's just a bit like, you know, do you think things have changed?
I think so, yeah, big time, man. Because look, they can see it. Our parents can all see that, you know, footballers make millions. You know, property. There's so much money to be made. That's, you know, bricks and mortar. You can never go wrong, right? There's always going to be a demand for that. Sports that people, you know, didn't get paid highly for now are getting some crazy, insane money, and artists are getting paid some big bucks. Like, look at, you know, look, in today's. We finally got to those big stages, you know, arenas, selling out arenas. We've got artists now that are doing that, you know, and that's so good to see. You know, we had a taste of that, you know, but it was still on a smaller scale, you know, where we were still part of a group of people that were doing it. You know, we opened for Missy Elliott in Birmingham. We opened for Busta Rhymes, you know, and those were big sellout arenas, you know, but we were like support acts. But now we've got our Punjabi artists that are headlining, only them on that show. There's no support acts, and people are coming out to see them in the thousands. That's mad, and that's where our parents now have gone. Okay, yeah, you don't have to just be a dentist or a doctor. You know,
it's true.
You can do something else and make money. And what my parents always said was, "But jada tu kam karna," and I'll say this in English as well for the people that don't understand Punjabi. But in Punjabi, I will say it first because I just feel it holds a lot more kind of. It comes across better, right? Jada kam karna tu dat ke karna. Right? Make sure you give it your heart and soul. So whatever work you're going to do it with 110% of your effort. Because if you're not going to give it 110%, don't waste your time. You know, because you could put that energy somewhere else. And sometimes I laugh when I say, when I now talk about my drinking days, I say, yeah, I blame my dad for that. He said, whatever you do, son, do it to the best of your ability. And I said, I drank to the best of my ability. I said, so that's his fault, man. That was a bit of a nutter on it. But now it's not like that, you know what I mean? And he's proud of me now as well. My parents are very proud. I can openly talk to him about, you know, not doing the things that I used to do. And they're cool with it, man, because they say, look, everybody goes through stuff. Everyone's got their own journey.
Of course.
You know, and we're just so proud that you've come through that, you know, and now we can sit here and they know, you know, and I purposely now, when I walk through the door, it could be like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, right? And I've come from a gig or something, and I'll walk in and my dad's just woken up to go to the bathroom. I'll go right up close to him and give him a hug and say, good dad, you all right? So he can smell me. And I'm doing it so he can smell that I don't smell of cigarettes and I don't smell of alcohol. Do you know what I'm saying? So it gives him that reassurance that, yeah, is he still doing it? Is he still trying to have a little cheeky one? Is he trying to pull the wool over our eyes? And that's just me reassuring him without saying a word. But because they're not stupid, right? They know, they can smell it. Like, you know, when we were younger, and for those of you that have smoked, you think that your parents aren't going to smell it because you've had a bit of gum and you've washed your hands and you've put a bit of deodorant on. Man, you still stink of fags, right? You still stink. When you walk through that door, it lingers in with you. And they know you're smoking. But they might not mention it because they think, no, I don't want to admit that my son's doing that. And we don't admit it to our parents because it's a respect thing, right? And that's our culture. But you know, when you've come through it and you can sit down and say, yeah, dad, I don't drink, I don't smoke, and you say it with confidence, they're proud of you, man. They're proud of you because, you know, it's a culture that we come from that it's not really acceptable. Smoking is not acceptable in Punjabi culture, you know? So, you know, for them to see you go through stuff and have your ups and downs, they'll always be very proud of you with whatever you do, you know, whether it's working or going through whatever you've been through in life. But, you know, I think no matter, as long as you put 110% into whatever you do, they'll always be proud of you, man.
100. And just before I move on from that point is you yourself have been a big part of that, the new stars that are here today, because you've changed that belief system that Asian people can get on the mic and rock it. You don't have to be the best singer, as you said, but your performance, your you know, your unique ability to come on that stage and dance and move is probably inspired the next generation already to say, I can do that, which is some of these people on stages right now, they probably listen to music. I know I definitely was listening to your music in college, etc. So big respect to you, my bro.
No worries, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
So Juggy, the big one comes. Dance With You 2003.
Yeah, man.
Talk to me about it, bro.
Oh man, Dance With You. What a journey, and what a track. That was to be part of, man. I can look back and only say, you know what, I was so so happy to be part of that song, because that song created a movement. It was not, we didn't plan to make a band or have a, you know, a trio. We were all individual artists. I'd already been, you know, I'd already stepped into the industry with Najina and the Craig David track. So I was already in the scene, you know. Jay had just started working with Rishi. He'd got his demo in front of Rishi. Rishi had been working with him. And in my first song, Najina, Jay was in there. He was in the background.
Okay.
He'd come down to our shoot, and you could call him an extra if you want, because
Jay Sean was your extra.
Yeah, he didn't know, because he hadn't released anything then. He was part of a group, but they were unknown. They were like kind of that underground kind of vibe, and nobody knew who he was. So he had just started working with Rishi, and Rishi invited him down to my video shoot. So we all got to meet him there, but like I said, nobody knew who he was. And he went by the name of I can't remember what his other name was in his group, but his name was Kamaljeet Duty, right? And it was Nicky J. That's what he went by. He was like, "No, this is Nicky." And so yeah, he was at the shoot, and then shortly after that, the song came out. Me and Rishi had been working together, and then one day I got a call from Rish, and he's like, "Jugs, where are you? What you doing? I said, oh, nothing, I'm at home. And he's like, okay. He goes, remember I told you about that guy? He came to your shoot, Nicky. And I was like, oh yeah. He goes, I've just been working with him on some stuff. I want you to come down and have a listen. I was like, okay. He goes, come down. And I was like, all right, cool. I said, I'll pop down in a bit. So I drove down to the studio, and they were all there. Manager that had signed Rishi as a producer, called Rob. That was 2.9, but 2.9 didn't exist then. That was just Rob, right?
Okay.
And there was a guy called Billy. But in the studio was Rob, Rishi, and